Hello everyone, and welcome to this week's new episode of B-Movie Enema, the series. I'm B-Movie proctologist Jeff Arbuckle, and I'm joined, as always, by my partner in crime, Nurse Disembodied. Nurse, how's it going?
Doing great, Jeff. How was your trip to Styx?
Oh, it was pretty nice. I mean, it's always so hard to make the trip to the planet with 10 suns and 5 moons. The tides are out of control, and I gotta be covered up so much or it's just instant sunburn.
For a place that Alien Private Eye says looks so beautiful, it's a bummer you gotta cover up so much.
Yeah, and it's a pretty warm place too, so it's just that much more uncomfortable.
That sounds like a real disappointment. But at least you were under the sea with the dolphins who farm vegetables. How are they doing?
Oh, the crops are pretty good this year. I mean, check out that arugula I brought back. It's gonna make some great salads for us.
Yum yum, space salad.
And yeah, I would have been back sooner, but we had a layover on the planet Ohete, and it's not quite as nice as Styx.
Ooh, I bet not.
But I was able to pick up this week's movie there, though.
Oh great, what movie did you get for us?
Well, appropriately, it's Extraterrestrial Visitors from 1983.
Did you say E.T. the Extraterrestrial from 1982?
Nope, I said Extraterrestrial Visitors from 1983.
Oh, well, I'm a little unenthused now.
Yeah, I don't blame you. Now, this is the Spanish ripoff of E.T., directed by Juan Piquer Simon, and he often got credited as J.P. Simon, and he made a handful of movies that had some sort of recognition here in this country. But first, before that, he made a couple of Spanish movies based on Jules Verne's stories, Journey to the Center of the Earth, which was also known as Where Time Began, and Mystery on Monster Island, but he was pretty darn busy around this time too. He made the 1979 Superman ripoff Supersonic Man that I desperately want to do on this show someday, preferably with an English dialogue track. Supersonic Man was a movie that I first watched on Riff Tracks, but more importantly, it features our Heavenly Father who art in heaven, Cameron Mitchell. We gotta get that film somehow, Nurse.
I'll have our people call that movie's people.
Now we're talking. Now, he made the 1982 slasher movie Pieces. Now, that's a wild movie. Joe Bob Briggs completed his 24-hour last drive-in return in the summer of 2018 with Pieces, and he said something to the effect that it's not that hard to get good actors to do a good job in a movie. What's impressive about old JP was that he got good actors to do absolutely terrible performances. Linda Day George is well known for her "bastards" line that is so over the top that you cannot believe it actually made it to the final cut of the film.
Bastard was in there killing her! Bastard! Bastard!
Now, Pieces is easy to make fun of, but it's actually a great watch. It's full of recognizable actors, too. Not only is Linda Day George in it, but her husband, Christopher George, is in it as well. And also, you have Paul Smith, who played Bluto in the Robert Altman live-action Popeye movie. He's there. And also British actor Edmund Purdom. It also has the great tagline, "It's exactly what you think it is," which shows up under a chainsaw and a stitched up woman. That's just fantastic. It's not going to waste a second of your time. This fucking movie is a horror movie with a guy cutting up women with an ass-slapping chainsaw. Hell, it even says that you don't even have to go to Texas for a chainsaw massacre, which is true because Pieces is way more of a chainsaw massacre than the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre was. Anyway, Extraterrestrial Visitors is the follow-up to Pieces, and, well, let's face it, Simone was a bit of a master of directing rip-offs. If you also made the same mistake that Nurse Disembodied made about this being E.T., I'm not exactly going to blame you. This was 100,000% intended to cash in on the E.T. craze. Supersonic Man was for the Superman craze. Pieces was all about cashing in on slashers. So, yeah, that's what he did. Later in the 80s, Simone also made Slugs the movie, about killer slugs that were spawned from toxic waste. Now, that's one that got a lot of play on TV during the late 80s and into the 90s.
Hey, wait a minute. Isn't this week the 40th anniversary of E.T.?
Huh. You know what? It is. Of course, let's focus specifically on extraterrestrial visitors, because it's got some of the same things that Steven Spielberg's E.T. has too. For one, we have an alien who comes to Earth, seemingly befriends a child. There are other people roaming about the forest who shouldn't be trusted, and that alien's mother eats people who get in her way.
That last part wasn't in E.T.
Maybe not in the version of the movie that you saw.
I absolutely do not believe that.
Fair enough. Extraterrestrial Visitors was shown on Mystery Science Theater 3000. It's one of the funnier episodes of that series. However, it was one of those Film Ventures International jobs. That distributor had a knack for distributing movies with different titles. However, FEI also produced and distributed several films and had some relatively popular movies in their library. They made one of the first Jaws ripoffs, Grizzly, in 1976. But one thing that was not uncommon in their releases was the purchase of the rights to distribute and change the title to something completely different. For example, the 1982 Italian sword and sandal movie A Tortue, which itself was known as The Blade Master, was renamed Cave Dwellers. Extraterrestrial Visitors was released under the title Pod People. Both films featured weird, video effects heavy opening credits that showed scenes from different movies. For example, Cave Dwellers showed footage in the credits to a movie called Thor the Mighty. Pod People's credits shows George Stover being attacked by different alien completely from what we see in this movie that was originally seen in Don Dohler's movie The Galaxy Invader. Well, I think we should probably get things going, and we'll come back here after the first act.
Wait, do you hear that?
Yeah, where do you think that's coming from?
Oh no, it's not coming from the poop chute, is it?
Nope, not down there.
There it is again!
Yeah, you're right. Let's get things started. We'll keep checking in on that goofy music that we're hearing.
I still can't find the source of that music.
Yeah, me neither, but it looks like we're back from the first segment of the movie.
There's so much fog. So much fog.
Yeah, kind of hard to see what's going on, isn't it?
It's like watching someone's weirdo home movie or a snuff film. Has anyone seen anyone from this movie since 1983?
That's actually a good question.
These first 30 minutes are mostly taken up by fog, and more fog, and guys wandering around the woods. A band with a singer who thinks their song stinks, and fog.
Oh, holy shit, the whole album recording scene, wow. I'll come back around to that in a minute. But Nurse, do you know what the three guys in the foggy woods are doing there?
I think they might be there to maybe farm fog?
You're actually a little closer than you might realize. They are actually poachers, and they are looking for nightingale eggs. Now,
what's wrong?
I might be a dummy, but...
Uh-oh. What?
I guess I have no real connection to the wild or nature because I had no idea poaching was a real big problem here in the United States. I mean, dig on this, kiddos. There are maybe no other movies that I can honestly think of right off the top of my head that features characters from here in the United States doing the stuff inside the United States who are legitimately poaching an animal or they're young. I mean, I suppose there are movies in which people take in a wild animal when they shouldn't, etc., but someone going out on the hunt for a specific type of animal's eggs, I don't think I've seen a movie like that before in this way. Maybe I can say that movies in which someone is trying to traffic a wild animal or an illegal animal would be something along those lines. But that said, I think when most people think of poaching, You're killing an animal for something that they have. Like in Africa, we hear people poaching elephants for their ivory or whatever, right? But, well, that's killing an elephant and then cutting off their ivory and then leaving their carcass behind. You don't think of that happening here in the States, but Google it and you'll find out that there is a bit of a poaching epidemic going on in the US of A currently. Commonly, it is for like a ram's horn or black bears or trafficking endangered animals online. But whatever, these guys are here to get nightingale eggs and sell them for the big bucks.
One of the guys stumbles upon a cave with the alien eggs. Do you have any idea why he decided to break most of the eggs before he gets his ass killed?
No idea. I mean, my only guess is that maybe he did it because the script said he had to do it.
That's honestly as good as any answer I could think of.
Alright, so let's talk about that band in this movie. Oh boy.
Hear the engines roll now!
Yeah, this band means more to the overall plot than the poachers. I mean, do we know the name of this band? Nope, doesn't matter. Not one fucking bit. Why? Because they are awesome. Or, well, I thought they were awesome.
I think they are too.
Now, there's so much to dissect in this recording scene. First up, we have the lead singer, Rick, played by Ian Serra. Now, Serra would do acting in the early part of the 80s and also starred in Pieces as Kendall. However, in the later part of that decade, the 80s, he did some producing, but frankly, it doesn't seem like he's done a whole lot, either since or during that time. A year after this movie's release, Serra was done with acting. But he does get the line of the movie, "It stinks." If you're a huge MST3K nerd like me, you know about the producer giving the thumbs up and then Rick flashing the OK signal before getting pissed and saying that it stinks. It's a whole meme in the Misty community. But you also have his irritation at his backup singers who giggle and just think they did just swell. It's one of those dubbing things that cracks me up. The giggles are completely unnecessary. You hear this sort of stuff in anime too, and sometimes it's not in the dubbing, it's just in the direction of the cartoon, but stuff like that always registers oddly in my brain. But neither of those things, and I mean neither of those things, can top what my eyes are always drawn to in the scene. The guy with the "I'm a Virgin" t-shirt. Why would you wear that kind of shirt?
Look at that guy too. He's so proud to be wearing it.
I know. I know it's a Virgin Islands thing and just meant to be a cheeky joke, but come on. Everything about that guy tells me that he really shouldn't wear that shirt. It makes me look at the shirt, nod, and then say, "Yep, that checks out."
If I was standing next to him like that girl, I'd probably have that same expression on my face.
Oh, and that girl is the evil Laura Stapleton. Okay, she's not evil, but she's apparently Rick's side piece, and she just kind of invites herself into this band's life, but Rick already has a girlfriend, Sharon. Now, nurse, it's probably not Rick's best maneuver to have both his literal girlfriend, who is one of the backup singers in his band, and his side piece coming to this camping trip at the same time. That just feels dumb?
Oh, that's the point you think this movie has gotten dumb?
Well, hey, there's that music again.
Yeah, there it is. Okay, we need to figure this out and fast. This is driving me nuts.
Agreed. We'll be back after the next section of Extraterrestrial Visitors. Well, my dear Animaniacs, we found the source of that music. Everyone, meet the star of Extraterrestrial Visitors, the one, the only, Trumpy.
Oh, why?
Oof, yeah, that sounds messy. Oh yeah, no, you don't want to worry about that. It's a thing around here.
Clumpy? What was it like working on this movie? Well, I don't see your people as bad.
So what brings you here, Clumpy? Oh god, that was terrible, wasn't it? Yeah, that'll happen. Yep.
Clumpy, how was it working with that kid? He was kind of creepy in this, way more than you or the mama alien.
Oh, God. Even the little kitten?
Aww.
Now that's truly a happy ending. Say, Clumpy, I know you have some pretty silly powers. Can I ask you to do something for me? It is! How did you know? Yeah, it sure is, isn't it?
What a great guy.
No doubt. Anyway, Laura Stapleton is about to get messed with by the poachers who apparently got horny while being stranded in the foggy forest, and she runs into the mama alien and falls off a small cliff and is all messed up. Meanwhile, that kid Tommy, he gives me the gibblies, but he is into bugs and stuff, but his uncle doesn't give a shit. That kid goes out and finds a Trumpy egg and brings it home.
And Trumpy grows fast.
Ooh, yeah, Clumpy might hear us calling him by his old name. But one thing I will also say is that all the crazy room stuff going on and doing the dancing and moving all around by itself, that's nightmare fuel. It's not exactly cute or endearing. There's nothing on Clumpy's ability. I mean, after all, right now he is trying to look at the poop chute, but this movie is not cuddly at all. But we'll talk more about that in the final segment. Right now, we should get back to the conclusion of Extraterrestrial Visitors. Well, Clumpy, thanks for looking at the poop chute. Oh, don't worry, my man. Extraterrestrial. I'm just glad to have another pair of eyes on it. Safe travels home, Clumpy.
I always do. Bye, Clumpy. I'll never forget you.
Well, there we have it. Extraterrestrial Visitors concludes with Trumpy, I guess, now living in the Atlantic Northeast in peace? Is he going to kill people? I could not tell you.
That creep-ass kid Tommy was super mean to Trumpy at the end.
Tommy pretty much tells Trumpy to get fucked. He is not a good kid.
No.
Nope. So anyway, yeah, this movie was going pretty hard towards trying to be another E.T. And this was something that we'd see for pretty much the rest of the 80s with very, very few successes. I mean, probably the best example of a good movie that got made thanks to E.T. is Mac and Me. Nah, I'm fucking with you. I'm referring to Batteries Not Included. There might be a few other alien befriending kid movies out there that were good, but yeah, Mac and Me, Purple People Eater, Space Invaders, Nuki, this one, the list goes on, and not many were well received. For the most part, they were cheap imitations or completely uninspired.
But you know what this one did inspire?
What's that, nurse?
As our friend mentioned, he had to change his name because of the similarity to a former world leader that rose to power after the 2016 presidential election, and that spawned a ton of memes. Some of them go from the direct Donald Trumpy to the more cartoony style to just sticking his head onto one of those aliens' bodies from a production photo, to using stuff from the classic MST3K episode of the disturbing...
Now, I should also mention that not all the memes are presidential in nature. Even before we got our own Trumpy in the US, Misty's had their own array of memes from several of the top episodes of the series, and Pod People definitely had a share. It was either stuff between Trumpy and Tommy, or Joel saying it stinks like Rick did, or Trumpy looking at all the potatoes he could eat in Tommy's room. Now, if I say so myself, I'm not sure that this movie is any better or worse without the MST3K jokes. It's a very bizarre movie. And I do think that I should probably get out of the way for you to give your final review, nurse.
Extraterrestrial Visitors is a very foggy movie. Jeff said he thought this movie is bizarre, and sure enough, I think that's a whole other definition of foggy. Tommy was a really creepy kid with a grown woman's voice coming out of his creepy face. And the poachers, what are they doing and why are they a part of this movie at all? The original idea for this movie was for it to be a straightforward horror movie about an alien on a murderous rampage. And boy, they missed the boat on that, didn't they? Killing spree? Well, sure, there's that, but there's this relationship between Trumpy and Tommy that really fucks up the whole vibe. The band's hit song, Hear the Engines Roll Now that's a masterpiece. I can blast this movie because it's hard to see with all the fog. I can rail on it for having a very creepy kid. I can deduct points for it not being anything more than a shitty E.T. knockoff. And I also can't deny that it's fun to watch. It's a fun, bad movie because there are 3 different movies crammed into this with a family, poachers, and a rock band. Somehow a watchable movie came through the thick, thick mist. I award Extraterrestrial Visitors, also known as Pod People, also known as E.T. the Second Coming, 3 poops out of 5.
You know, somehow, some way, this movie figures out a way to be watchable, doesn't it?
Somehow.
Yeah, you hit on it. Now, for some reason, this movie decided it couldn't just be a horror movie. Okay, fine. Have the rock band get attacked by a Trumpy. Sure, rock band plus family plus a couple of aliens, that's the recipe here. However, the poachers now are involved. Why? I don't know. Oh, was it the one moron who smashed up Trumpy's mom's eggs that started the whole rampage? Is that what's happening here? Was it the dumb kid taking that dumb egg home and basically doing his own form of poaching that got the mother pissed?
He tucks into bed with that thing, right? Like, what if he rolled over while sleeping? Imagine all the goo.
Yeah, that would have been pretty gross. Now, I found myself constantly hyper-focused on the poachers. Here's the thing. You could have had Extraterrestrial Visitors with the rock band and the family. No poachers. That's a movie. Or you could have poachers and rock band and the movie would have been something like They Came In From the Fog or something like that. Or you could still have had Extraterrestrial Visitors with poachers and the family. That would have meant that the poachers would have been the bad guys trying to come and get Trumpy, and it would not have required a murderous, rampaging Mama Trumpy.
Ooh, what about a sequel about Little Trumpy, where he realizes the humans have killed his whole family by smashing up the eggs of his siblings, and now gunning down his mother in cold blood, he decides to go out and bring death to all the humans in the area.
You know, they could have just done that from the start. Make it that true horror movie.
You got that right.
Yep.
Yup.
Now, you know what I felt really bad about? It was when that kid kept telling Trumpy to get lost. He was like, go away, I hate you, we're not friends anymore, and all that. While Trumpy is just kind of doing that moaning thing that he does. It sounds really sad. That was kind of awful.
That kid was a turd.
I ain't gonna argue with that. But hey, Clumpy did say that there is someone that I might be able to call to come check out the poop chute.
Oh wow, that's great news.
Yeah, his name is Bart Blurbapple, and he runs a place called Poop Shoots and Me. And it says here that you got a clogged up pooper shooper, need your interspatial anal hole repaired, call me.
All of that sounds really gross.
I can't really argue with you, but it does sound like something I'd write. But I guess it's time for us to say goodbye for this week.
Go away. I hate you. Go away. We're not friends. Go away.